Hey, this is your girl, Isis Wisdom of the Isis Wisdom Show. How y'all doing tonight? How y'all doing tonight? How y'all doing tonight? You know, I have a special guest on my show, and I told you guys that I was going to have the beautiful Miss Sonia Barrett on the show. Before I get started with her, I'm going to go ahead and bring in my regular intro onto my intro song, and then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about a few things. All right? This is your girl, Isis Wisdom of ElevatedRadio.fm and also the Isis Wisdom Show here on YouTube. And I told you guys that I have a very special guest, and I'm really, really glad that she decided to come on board. I've known this woman for quite some time. I used to talk to her back in the day, and we reconnected a couple years ago. And now we're back again, and she has been putting it down for a minute. Her name is Sonia Barrett. She is a true visionary. She is the executive producer of the award-winning documentary, The Business of Disease. She is the host and producer of the radio show, The Expansion Zone with Sonia Barrett on KPFK 90.7 FM in Los Angeles. Sonia Barrett is known for her cutting-edge insights, with much of it supported by quantum physics. Theoretical physicist Dr. Amit Goswami refers to her as a true mystic. Her work bridges the gap between science and spirituality in a simplified format. She addresses the programming, beliefs, and concepts by which we have lived our lives both individually and collectively. Sonia Barrett teaches and coaches on the natural science of the path inward. She is the author of the holographic canvas, The Fusing of Mind and Matter, and her second book, A Journey of Possibilities in Health, An Inside Job and Outside Business, a supplement to the film. Each chapter is written by those in the film, and her latest book and 7-day program, Simple Ways to Step Outside of Your Comfort Zone, Letting Go of an Outdated Life. She has been a popular radio host, appearing on such shows as Coast to Coast AM with host George Norrie, Red Ice Radio, Conscious Media Network, Gaia TV, and a host of others. So without further ado, I want to introduce my special guest, Miss Sonia Barrett. How are you? Oh my goodness. Hold on for a second. Okay, how are you?
I'm good. I was saying it's good to be here.
Yes.
It's here talking with you again. Yeah, it's been a while. We go way back. We used to have long conversations.
Yes, yes, we have many of conversations. Now, I want to. You've been putting it down for a minute, and this one particular. I was looking at something that you wrote recently. Well, it was last year. But I wanted to talk to you about the holographic canvas, and I want you to tell my audience because that's something they've never heard before. I want you to talk to my audience about from your perspective, what is the holographic canvas?
Well, I wrote that book. Let me first say, that book came out in 2000, January 2008, 2007, really 2008. So a lot has happened since that time. But
Right.
when I wrote the book, how do I go back? When I wrote the book, um, it was a culmination of just incredible understanding that I had encountered, and a lot of it was, I guess, quite scientific, um, and it opened me up to this whole other level of understanding, and that's what that book shares. However, the idea of a holographic canvas, a canvas is something, we paint on. You draw on it. It's art when you think of that. And so
Right.
the idea of a holographic canvas, it's like we're all painted on and artistically brought into this thing we call life. And as far as some of the science is concerned, we're looking at, is reality a hologram,
Right.
which means that we we are, but we aren't, means that everything is real, but it's not. So it kind of presents the paradox of what is illusion, and what is real. And is everything really some sort of construct that is really, for lack of a better understanding, like light? And everything is frequency based, right? So when
Right.
we think of hologram, typically we'll watch something and we see now our world is really exposing us to more of the idea of holograms. We've seen what they've done at Coachella with that kind level of holographic technology in this reality anyway. So we
Right.
get that idea of, well, is it something real and tangible? Well, just figure this. We are being reflected. Life is being reflected like onto this canvas that cannot be described, this undescribable canvas. So everything is being reflected onto that. And the paradox is, what's real, what isn't? Well, I say, because it's a paradox, everything is real and everything isn't. Real means what? Real is connected with the word realm and reality. So
Hmm.
when we look at it from that standpoint, um, real is based on the realm that you're focused on, which then creates what the idea of reality. So cutting that out and just making it even a little bit more precise. All right, so science knows that we see, it's really our brains that we see with, meaning that our brains actually pick up light frequencies of everything that you encounter, right? It's translated, it's light, but then your brain translates the light because it comes through the eyes, the cones and rods in the eyes, it picks it up, and then it projects it back through the optic nerves right back out the eyes. And then the way the brain is, it sets up texture and imagery, and where you can touch and feel and experience. So we're living in this really interesting experience that we call reality, that is and isn't all at the same time. So there's a lot more to it than that, but that's like the basic principle, just to know that you really see with your brain. And you go and look that up scientifically, and you will see that you see with your brain, and your brain just looks for patterns of things that have been accepted, whether by the individual or by the collective. So we are referencing the world that's around us based on our perception and familiarity and generational content, generational data, generational information that is embedded, that's encoded in us, that's written into our reality code. So I hope I didn't lose anybody, but
no, they're on this. This is what they're on. Now, let me ask you a question. Would you say that that would be the reason why some people, like you could have a group of people standing together at the same time, right? And we could look up at the sky, right? And I could say, there's something on the moon right there. And you can have several other people that might see the same thing, but then several other people in the group don't see anything at all. Now, I'm just curious to know, is that part of the reason why? Because they always ask these questions. They say, why is it that I can see this, that, and the third, but the other person can't see this, that, and the third? What is that about?
Well, I think we have to remember that, one, as I said earlier, the brain looks for patterns. The brain also filters reality, meaning it filters what we are actually experiencing, what we're actually seeing. And how does it do that? It's based on what the possibilities are, or the things that that you can accept as a potential or as a possibility. So it filters a lot of times. We hardly see anything. We think we're seeing all the stuff, and we don't. There's a whole infinite world around us of colors and forms and realms that you don't see, because we can't accept these things as a possibility, and our brains are wired to look for patterns, and an individual's pattern might be very narrow a reality. You have just a collective pattern as well, which is, what a chair looks like, what a book looks like, we know what the sky looks like. Those are things that are part of our collective memory and acceptance. But then you start to step outside of that, and if somebody's perception is too narrow and they're in a box, and they bring conclusion to what's possible and conclusion to reality. For example, if you say, "Oh, that's not possible," you can see ghosts. That's foolishness. All right, so those right away, those are ways in which we shut it down, and the brain gets that information, and the brain says, "Okay, so I'm going to filter out these certain things because they're not part of the potentiality for this individual." And so that's why we don't all hear the same thing either. That's why we have arguments. You'll say something and somebody will come back with a completely different thing. You're like, "But I didn't even say that." And they swear up and down that's what you said. So our ears are picking up, our eardrums are picking up the frequency of words, of the string of words, sometimes a little bit differently. So we're not necessarily all hearing the same thing. We're not necessarily seeing colors the same way. There's a lot of things that we're just assuming that we're all seeing and saying the same things. Now you could see how some of this stuff could cause an argument, because everybody is different. And again, science will tell you, and I'm using the word, I'm saying science, so it's not just me. But when we understand more about the fact that the brain really looks for patterns, right? Then you have to start looking at the patterns in your life. You then have to look at what the limitations are in your life, whether it be about spirituality, whatever it is, your personal life, boundaries that you've created that won't allow you to engage or to see anything bigger. People do that too because they're scared of the unknown. And if you're so scared of the unknown, whether it be getting out of a relationship, you're not sure what's going to happen, so you rather stay in that stagnant relationship, or a job that's stagnant, you rather stay there because at least you know what you're getting. So we start to break it down to these smaller things to see exactly how we are wired. Well, your brain has a library specific to you, a library of information or a library of patterns. That's your specific blueprint, let's say, of what you can accept for reality. The people that you're around, your environment, whatever, friends, all our narrowness is there, and the brain just allows more of that to come towards you.
Man, now that in itself is deep. So let me ask you a question. Do you see a difference in the change on Earth? Do you feel it? Do you see it? Like, what, in your own words, if you was to describe the current times that we're living in right now, how would you describe it from your perspective?
Well, okay, so there's two sides to a coin. So
Okay.
overall, there's a bigger picture. Yes, there's chaos and madness going on, but there's a bigger
Right.
picture. And so in the greater scheme of creation or a nature, right? There is an upgrade and a reset that's like a default upgrade and reset that's going on with humanity, right? Because
Okay.
that's just it has to happen. It's just natural. Everything has to continue to graduate to different levels. Now, we also have to understand that I call it a default upgrade. For years, if you look at my work, I've always said that there's a default upgrade that happens. What does that mean? It means that when human beings, so for example, if most people are just stuck in their narrowness, the system that we call reality or world, the system, the bigger system, what it does naturally is every so many cycles, because that's what we're dealing with when we refer to a year or 2 years or whatever. Those are just cycles, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
this mechanism, this technology, because that's the word I use, the technology then of reality, the technology of nature has it just like you go into puberty after so many cycles. Everything is replicating something bigger, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you've got these bigger cycles that run this thing that we call life. And after so many cycles, it needs to begin a upgrade process of consciousness on the planet, right? Now, it
Yeah.
doesn't mean that everybody is suddenly going to be like, whoa, in this super aware state. No, people are being upgraded according to where they are and according also to the what they can accept, but at the same time there's still an upgrade going on. Everybody's not ever going to truly be on the same level of awareness because some people are not here for that. And I think that's really something that is very important that we need to understand. We're all free agents here in this life. And everybody's journey is different because of that. We don't know what, not even your kids, you don't know. They came through you, but they're unique. They have their own unique agenda and experience here in this life. So everybody is playing out life and encountering people like Isis, like her show, that's going to give them the information that they need to maybe help them to step it up in the process. Some people will get certain things and some people will go, well, that's just over my head. You know, and it's okay. So this is not about trying to beat everybody into submission because you think they should be here. You don't know where they should be, but you know what's pulling you, what's driving you. And so with that said, yes, there's that upgrade that is going on, upgrade and a reset. And it has to do with everything from the consciousness to the DNA to the whole being is going into a new level of frequency, then of awareness, meaning that your consciousness will become even more open, so you can become even more open to the things that are going to come, not necessarily just in this life, but those things that are getting ready to or you're getting ready to be exposed to, like maybe, you know, all these other realms that are here. Maybe you're going to be ready to be able to notice or start really taking it seriously when something goes by the side of your eye and you no longer just think that, oh, well, maybe that's just me. There's a lot of activity going. It's a super highway. A lot of activity going on all the time. But you have to be available to it and you have to give yourself permission. Then real quickly, on the other side of the upgrade, what we're seeing is that our system, our government, all of those tools, because that's what they are, all of those tools in this, they're doing their part. They're doing whatever behavior they're doing, that's their role that they're playing out. So the question should be at this point, what am I doing for me? How am I upgrading me? You can't wait on them for them to be upgrading you, and because they're going to take advantage. They're going to do it if you let them. This is an opportunity where you can use the things that are happening today as your momentum, as your propulsion to give yourself permission to expand. So I'll leave it right
there. I thank you so much for touching on that. So much for touching on that, especially when you spoke about the different realms and things like that, because I've been talking about that here as of late, are the different realms and also different incarnations.
Yeah.
And I talked about how, there's something going on now where there a lot of that information is coming to me in a way where I'm realizing that there are certain fractals that are within our bodies, in our light bodies or and basically the fractals come from past lives, right? And I'm getting a lot of information, a lot of downloads from those different past lives, where I'm able to access elders depending on what position I had at that time or whatever I was doing at that time, where they're giving me a lot of different information. And so my mind is definitely expanding more. And I'm glad that you also point out another thing, which is not everybody's supposed to come here to do that. Thank you for that. That is, I hope y'all heard that, because now, a lot of us, there's a major thing going on right now, with this vaccine. And there's so many people that are being torn apart behind that. So many family members are being torn apart behind that. And somebody said something to me the other day where they felt like, the great purge literally has to happen. It's like a purging process that Earth has to go through.
Right.
What is your okay? I was just getting ready to say,
it's the expansion. Yeah, it's the reset, and we use the term survival of the fittest, and I don't think we really even realize that. I'm not talking about Darwin, but I'm talking about survival of the fittest. It's like when you go to your tree, like in Jamaica, you go to pick a mango or any fruit, and you're seeing if it's fit. Is it ready? Well, that's kind of basically the same thing that's going on. This is why you see this division of people and why you see people leaving the planet, and why some people are leaving, they get the vaccine and maybe, I don't know, what the reaction will be for them, maybe none. Whatever it is, there are no mistakes. Everybody's doing exactly what they're doing. And with nature, the idea of survival of the fittest, it simply means that the expansion that is to come or that is happening, the fittest, meaning those people who are in a state of openness and readiness and have given themselves permission to expand. That's all. It doesn't, let me just clarify. It doesn't mean anybody is better or worse. That's not what I'm saying. I'm talking about vibrationally, meaning that the person's consciousness or awareness is in a state, in a space that is allowing of expanding beyond these limited perceptions and belief systems that that many of us have been locked into. That's what that fittest means. Are you fit? Is your consciousness fit to move into this next realm? I feel that people are coded. Some people are not coded to be here longer, past 2021 or any year, 2020. I think that people are coded, as we see, there's no mistakes. People are coded for certain long haul. There's things to come. They're not wired for it, so they leave. And it's just how people end up leaving. And that's a whole other even story, that what I say, a whole other explanation to even get into that, because somebody will go, well, what about people getting in car accidents? That's a whole other understanding. And the more that we can understand this, is the more you start to hack your own self, like they hack computers, and like the system, the government and all these folks are hacking people's minds, they're hacking them. Well, you are the owner of your vehicle, right? This technology, you own it. Right. But when we are unaware, we leave ourselves open and vulnerable for other people. So awareness is just key at this point. It's always been key, but it's key just because we're in the midst of this shift and transition that eventually will settle. Now, when it settles, where will you be? What side of this will you be on? You know, that's the whole question. Where will you be? It won't be good or bad, but you will be somewhere. Some people won't be here. So it's all of these things that we need to understand. And nobody is doing anything to you. That's another misconception.
Break that down when you say that to my audience, when you say that nobody's doing anything to you. I've talked about that as well, but I want you to break it down from your perspective.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, nobody's doing anything to you, meaning that you have choice. You have a choice to wake up. You have a choice to be aware. You have a choice to just blame other people. You have a choice to avoid expansion and growth. No matter which way you go, it is your choice. And it's easier to make other people responsible for your growth and your progress. And I know a lot of people could come up with a whole lot of different things, but what I can tell you is no matter which way you go, you have the power to make that change for you. And when the changes that we make in our lives, and just let's say, however we're living our lives and the belief systems that we have, and when we're stuck on those belief systems, and when we are constant victims and we can't get out of that space of victimization, we will just always have an environment and conditions that continue to draw that to us. Nobody's doing it to you. You are the one that is giving orders. You know, that's what we do. We give out orders all day long for our lives. And then we what do we do after that? Those orders become law for us. Oh, I don't know why I can never get ahead, no matter what I do. You know, oh yeah, you know, I'm just living paycheck.
Instead of program emotion. That's a program that they put themselves on. Yes.
Absolutely. It becomes a law. No different than we say, what are the terms and conditions of your life? What are the terms and conditions that you've created for your life? Just like you go on Google, you're on your phone and you start reading all those terms and conditions. We do the same thing with our lives, but we don't know that we do it. We don't know. And then the system around us, our matrix, our governmental construct, and all the rules, religious constructs, corporate constructs, all of those things, then just swoop in to support the terms and conditions that we've created for ourselves. This is really big. And let me tell you, the system on a bigger level, they've always studied people. They have to. It's been like that forever. How can 5 people control millions or billions? I'm just saying ratio. You have to study the psychology of people and understand how to regulate the psychology of people. If you're 5 people and you have to fight off, 30,000 people, you better know how you're going to manipulate those 30,000 people. And manipulation can only take place when we give our power over and when we are in a vulnerable state. And those are all things that the system itself, their job is to always make you feel like and think you have no power. That's their. And what is the importance of that? Why is it that's their role? Because it's the momentum that we use to push ourselves. If everybody goes, if everything, was just peace. Okay, well, if everything was the same, there would be no momentum. There would be nothing to push us into anything more. And so we can flip all of this around. And I say to myself, what does this moment provide you with this frustration and annoyance? Maybe you can think about starting the business you've been talking about forever. How can I utilize this moment in time as my propulsion? And so it is with everything. Look at all of this as momentum, propulsion. How am I going to use it to push myself forward, and not just how am I going to keep making it seem like I'm being victimized and they're taking over.
Now, I'm glad that you said that for my audience. I'm looking at the comments. Ask your questions here in the chat if you have any questions for Sonya. I'm seeing some of the comments you guys are putting up. Now, in your opinion, are we in the 5th dimension at this time?
I'll be honest with you.
Or is that strictly a consciousness thing?
I think it is. Let me say this. This is what I've learned over the years. I
Go
have
ahead.
gotten to a point where I would no longer evaluate or count where I was, because I'm just all about moving. I'm just all about moving. If I'm ready, and I say step it up, because that's what I say sometimes. I go, okay, I feel like I've been like right here too long. I'm like, I need more information. I need to soar higher. So I'm not going to limit myself how far I soar. I don't know. I'm just wanting to move forward. Collectively, yeah, we could be in that space. You know, you got third, fourth, fifth, but it's really still coming down to people and where they are in their consciousness. And sometimes when we pin it down and we go, we're in the fifth or sixth dimension, some people get relaxed. They start lying to themselves about where they are. They start not telling themselves the truth about their own growth. They're just busy running around talking about, who's woke and who's not. Who cares? There's nothing to do with anything. I don't, that's irrelevant.
Right.
My question to myself is, where am I in my evolution? Because when I know where I am in my growth and my process, that is going to begin to determine more of the world that I will interact with. One more thing I want to throw out there. The thing that I found so fascinating some years back is when it really occurred to me that the world, the idea of the world is brought to us, right? It's marketed to us. Pictures, images, videos. The only thing you know about the world is right this minute. And when you walk out the door, any interaction that you're having, that is your only for sure of what is really going on. Your immediate interaction. That's it. Everything else is marketed. Reality is marketed every moment to people. And so we have to begin to remember all of that. This is a fascinating, I'm going to say technology. It's a fascinating experience. No different than like Star Trek with the, what was it again that they had the, where they would go in and they could just create all kinds of different realities.
Genesis. They created Genesis.
It was Genesis. That was one thing, but I just can't think of the name right off the bat. But I think, all those things we have to begin to remember that life, the reality as we know it, again, technology here just mimics something greater. We have to have a model, and that model is just used over and over again in different ways. Just like you create even on a small scale where we build a house or we do these things, we are naturally wanting to design. We're engineers, we're architects, we're time travelers, we're astronauts. We're scientists. That's what we do. That's why we're here. We're just asleep, so we don't remember. But the only way that we could come and travel into this realm and this life and to have the full human experience is to do it with memory blocked. If we were to come with full memory, there would be no reason to even do it. But the blocked memory, and then you go to a stage where it's time to move up again into a state of awakening, to unlock yourself. You have the password, and you unlock yourself, and then all this information, like Isis was saying, it starts to flood in because you've given yourself permission to allow it to come in. So no mistakes for one. We need to give that up to stop having regret and mistakes. And if I didn't have, no, every experience that you've had in your life has brought you to this moment. And to me, it is the most freeing thing, good, bad, or indifferent. All the challenges, every bit of it, you have climbed on that, and it has brought you to this very moment that we're talking of, that you're sitting here and you're listening to Isis' show. So you can take the wisdom from all of those things and say to yourself, you know what? I know everything in my life has been a stepping stone to bring me here, and I am alive. I am here now. So there is purpose. There is reason for me to be here now. Now you take that, see what you've learned from some of these things, and then keep it moving. I'm a firm believer. Keep it moving. And I'm grateful to all of those, experiences I've had. And I've had some very challenging and difficult ones. So, and here I am. And out of that, man, that stuff propelled me into wanting to understand this. A divorced mother, from dealing with domestic violence, all that stuff. I'm just saying that for people who think, oh, she doesn't know. No, I know. I get it. Trust me. I have been there. And all of that stuff, all of those experiences is what made me go, what in the hell is all of this life about? And from there on my own, I was diligent and I was committed to wanting to understand and for this part of me to open up so I could see. And I thought, whoa, I'm seeing. And the freer you become when you give yourself permission,
the more you see,
the more you will see.
Yeah. And, also what I've also realized, and it's really in my face right now, because this is just something that I'm dealing with right now, as far as the phase of my own life. But it's hitting me hard how your past lives actually affect the current life you're in right now.
Well,
and it's hitting me really, really, really hard because I allow myself to be open to want to understand more. Now, you also pointed out the fact that this is crazy. I was talking to somebody about this yesterday. I said, what would it be like if we knew all about our past lives? How would things be for us then? And I said, I can't help but feel like that maybe we need to go through this process of having our memories erased so we can have a new experience as a new incarnated being that we are now. Because we have many different incarnations and many different beings.
And we can't all the time.
Huh?
And we're still, here's the funny part here. Here's the interesting part. We see life as a singular experience right now, but we are actually living in so many different potential realities at the same time. We are living so many different potentials right now. It's just where our consciousness appears to be focused is on this, what we call this moment. But when we look at even scientists' understanding of the wave and the particle, we have the wave and the particle dance, which is going on all the time, meaning that when something is not being observed, it's in wave form. When it's being observed, it's in particle form, meaning it takes form. That's how we're interacting with our life, with life in general, meaning that Isis and I, we're all appearing and disappearing. You can't see it. It's so quick. We appear and disappear all the time. We look like we're a constant image and appearance, but no. How many of you out there have had experiences where, I always use the same one because it's easier for many people, where you are washing dishes or you're doing something, where whatever it is you're doing, and suddenly you get a flash like, why do I feel like I was over there on the couch before? Or why do I feel like I was somewhere else? And usually you can't hold on to it. It's real quick. Like you feel like you were somewhere else. And I know a lot of people have that happen. And it's because you are living so many different potentials. The other thing that I want to point out to folks is everything that we want to be and we think we want in our lives, you already are. But what you're dealing with, what I like to call choice points. Choice points land you in that space of what experience you will be having. And how are you landing in every potential that you're experiencing, like the potential you're experiencing now? Well, again, your belief system in that moment, your perception in that moment, your full on how you perceive a situation, it all opens up. It's a portal, and we're constantly, every thought is taking us on a journey. Every thought is taking us on a journey, and every thought, we are constantly in motion. We're not static. We're constantly in motion, appearing and disappearing at the same time, but it's not a static ride. You go outside. I remember the first time I had that experience, back in the 90s, when I went outside one day, went downstairs, went out, and that day, everything looked the same.
You're freezing up on me, Sonya.
Can you hear me? I'm here. Can you?
You're freezing up on me.
I'm not doing anything different. I'm here.
Y'all.
Can you hear me? I'm
Give
here.
me a second, y'all.
I'm here.
I have no idea what's going on at the moment.
Yeah, I'm here though. I'm here. I am here. You can't hear me? I'm here. I am here. I think you're frozen now. Huh. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm on the screen, but I don't know if anybody can see me or if it's just her that's off. I look like I'm in. I don't know what happened. Yeah, I don't know what happened. I'm still on. It says elevated radio on your side. Yeah, that's what I figured. Yeah. Right. I think they can. I mean, I'm still on. And okay, we'll do. All right. All right. Bye. Okay. Well, Isis wants me to let you know that her internet went out and she'll be right back on in just a moment. So hopefully she'll get back on rather quickly. I believe that you can still hear me because it does show that it's live. So I'm going to wait till she comes back on to finish that conversation. In the meantime, I hope that everybody is with the conversation and finding relevance with what we're talking about at this time, because it is super important. A much bigger picture than we've been led to believe. So it'd be interesting, by the way, if anybody has questions for me that you may share with Isis. I don't know. I'm not able to see. I'm not able to see that at this time. So it'll be I think fun to be able to answer some questions or comments. Okay, I've kind of gone on the other side of this, so that I can see. Is it still running? I don't know. Okay, I'm looking at some of these comments. I figure I'd just look at the same time now that I'm waiting. Not to worry, we'll be back. We'll be back. She'll be back on. Glad you're enjoying the dialogue. I'm looking at some comments here. Keep talking, Sonia. I want to keep talking, but I wanted to make sure that Isis is going to be able to participate. Oh, wow. You want to talk about the transition process, the death process, like all kinds of stuff. Okay, let me see if that's Isis. Cannot see that. But I think I was talking about choice points before we ended up losing Isis. So I'm trying to remember exactly where we were. I think I was talking about choice points. I think so, which is no matter. Oops, 1 second. Oh, okay. Somebody said, watch me on Gaia. Okay, great. Glad you enjoyed it. But anyway, just mentioning that, just about choice points. And I think to me, that was very important. That's something that I really realized, and it made such a difference in my life, is realizing that it's not that you are having to create anything, because I know we say we're creating, but it's realizing that since you exist in an ocean of potentials, because that's all we have is possibilities and potentials waiting to happen. And it's up to the individual as to the belief system and perception and all of that, to how they step into that choice point, that self that you would like to experience. You're stepping into that. Just think about it. If indeed everything is known, if indeed all that there is are potentials, then that means that everything truly really already is. And you have an opportunity to simply step into that space, that self, that potential, and experience that. But we can't step into certain potentials that we might dream about. Why does that happen? Because of the life that we're living, because of where we are in our perception. Let me see if I see Isis.
I'm here.
Okay.
Thank you for holding it down for me, Miss Lindsay. That's crazy. Like the internet just went completely out, like nothing. Like it just.
Oh, I know. Been there. Just shut up, Isis and Sonia. Just be quiet. Stop talking about all that stuff, and then we won't have anybody to control. But anyway,
the frequency was too high on that one right there.
Oh my gosh. But so what I did was I just kind of went on YouTube a little bit just to see what some people are talking about. And I didn't want to get into too much because I wanted you to be able to be here to engage. So I just kind of went over the choice points and how there's nothing to create. That's something that I realized, because all that exists are potentials, and every potential already is. And so you're basically stepping into a potential, but you can't, I was explaining right before you came on, you can't step into this potential that you say that you want when your belief system and your whole process of operation is based on something else. So in that case, you're going to always end up in a choice point that is what? Relevant to you in that moment, your awareness. That's all that's happening. We just end up in every single choice we make based on where we are. You can't, that's like, we dream of this incredible partner and mate in our lives. And that person is like, woo, up here in terms of what we would like, but we are nowhere ready for that kind of personality or person. We're just not, that's just not where we are. And so we keep attracting the same kind of mates, same kinds of relationship, whether it's just friendships or whether it's lovers or whether it's jobs. We keep going into that same space because we're creating the same scenarios and we bring ourselves there. And to me, all of that becomes like powerful. To me, that kind of awareness is power, because when we realize that and we can take ownership, man, when we can step back and say to ourselves, okay, I always say, well, okay, what's the story you're running right now? I said, because I can guarantee you everything that you are living right now, whether it's financial, lack, any lack, whatever it is you're living right now, there is a story behind it. And we have to be able to see what that story is to be able to make the changes that we want. Just telling yourself the truth. You don't blame yourself. You're not mad at yourself. You just go, wow, that's what I say to myself. I'm like, wow, that's what you've been doing. That's the story you've been telling yourself. I'm like, okay, I get it now. I get it. And I see the root of that story. I'm like, okay, joke's on me. Boom, I'm ready now. I get it. I'm ready to move to higher ground.
That's it. Some of us have been telling ourselves that same story for like years.
Oh, yeah, our whole life.
We'll be waking up and it's like, wait, you mean to tell me I've been doing this to myself the whole time?
Yep.
What? The power is the awareness.
And every moment, the other beauty here to me is just it's a scientific fact, but also everybody here can attest to that. Every moment is new. There is no two moments alike. Every single moment is new. And if every moment is new, guess what? You're really new in every moment. Then you say, well, why do I keep going through that? Because I guarantee you, when you go and you lay down at night, you put your head on the pillow, we tend to run the same stories of our problems. And then we take it, I like to say, we take it into dream time. We take it across the bridge, Dreamtime bridge, into the next, what we define as the next day, the next cycle that we consider the 24 hours or 8-hour cycle of sleep, whatever, the next morning. And as soon as you wake up, the download, I call it the download, begins. And what does that mean? It means before you know it, you start running the same data, the same information again. So therefore, you end up with the same day. It's like Groundhog Day. You can't get off of the treadmill because you keep running that, because every day you get up, boom. And years back, I remember I've taught several workshops based on this, but I remember years back when I started to say to myself, when do I start thinking in the morning? So I really set out to really capture, when does this begin? And it's so subtle because it's quick. Yet, if you're able to start paying attention, you start waking up, and there is a moment in there that you don't even remember about yesterday. It'll be quick. And then all of a sudden you remember, oh yeah, that's right, I was mad at such and such. Oh yeah, that's right. I'm back to no money. Oh yeah, that's right. You have to remind yourself all over again. That's how this is. I say the game is criminal, but that's how this thing works. That's how this technology works. That's why I started to change my language years ago, in understanding that technology wasn't just about your little cell phones and computers and all that stuff. We're mimicking the bigger technology of creation. It's like the genie's lamp. You rub it, and it's like, okay, what do you want? Okay, there it is. That's what you want. And we keep bringing in stuff that we think we don't want, but we're the ones that keep rubbing the lamp and bringing the same thing. Start paying attention to the download that happens in the morning. And
be present.
That's the word. Be present. That's it. The last thing I'm just going to throw in with that, since I say that, I need to say this part, is that you have to remember everything is made of subatomic particles, but your body is made of subatomic particles. And those subatomic particles are changing all the time. That's why you don't have the same body since birth. It's your body is new, like continuously new. Every organ, they have their cycles and it's all new. But you say, well, why do I keep having the same thing? Because the belief system and the thought, the subatomic particles, even though they are new, they just keep coming back with the same data in it. That's all. That's why we keep generating the same body and the same experiences, because the subatomic particles just keep housing the same data, because everything is what? Information. It's all data. Every single thing is nothing but patterns of information. So that's what we keep running all the time, which is why we keep getting the life we get.
And I just want to say this for those of you guys that are currently on my Telegram channel. Think about what you guys post inside the forums in the chat. Think about how things are repetitive in the chat. And I had a conversation with you guys about switching it up. I said, how many times can you talk about and post the same thing over and over and over again? We got to get some other things and talk about some other things. So I want you to think about that. It is interesting. It's very interesting. I'm looking at, someone said you can literally change your body shape through your mind.
Absolutely. That person is absolutely correct. This whole system is pliable. All of creation is pliable. It's plastic, just like your brain is pliable, right? That's the reason why it's so necessary for us to engage in something new. That's the reason why, even on a small level, to engage in new ideas, new concepts, new things, so you can create new neural pathways, right? You have to create new neural pathways. If you don't, what you get is stagnation, and that really sets the body up for shutting down even more, even faster. It's a whole system at work. But the brain is very plastic, very pliable. The body is extremely pliable. Every form, every shape, the shape of your cheekbones, your eyes, your nose, your teeth. My teeth, I had an underbite. What do you call double row teeth when I was a kid. And so these teeth were here while the other ones were trying to come out. But even that, there's a reason why all of that happened. And to me, it's so fascinating to realize that every little thing about the shape of your face has something, some data in it, some story in it, things in it, information in it, some of it genetic, some of it from immediate family, like your mom, whatever, when she was carrying you. It's all, we are just like a big old information systems, and everything is relevant. So yes, we can literally change the shape of our face just by getting to some of the root of these programs that we have been running that are causing the body to respond the way that it does, the reaction that we get. It's all run by thought, and our thoughts levitate really above the head. It's like the computer where we say stuff is in the cloud. Who we are, who we are, and all of that data. It's not really stuck in here. It's
broadcasted.
It's just out. Absolutely broadcasted, and so you're not really trapped in here. You are using this vehicle to function in this reality, in this life on the planet, let's say. And this vehicle, this technology was designed to operate in alignment with what? The gaseous laws of this reality, which requires, for one, what? Oxygen and carbon dioxide, that whole interchange, and all the other gases that support the actual physical conditions of the planet. And water, we made up of mainly water. You start to get a bigger picture of all of this. This is your vehicle you move around in, but it's an intelligent vehicle. It's designed to be so intelligent that its job is to stay alive. And that's why we get stuck in survival programs. I just thought I'd throw that part in. That's why we get stuck in survival programs, because yes, the body is designed to survive at all costs. That's why
it wants to live.
Yeah,
it wants to live.
It wants to live. That's like you design a piece of technology, a car to run a certain way or whatever it is. It's designed to. It's self-contained. Let's put it that way. It's self-contained, so it is designed to fix itself with the ideal conditions, which means when the owner of the vehicle is operating in more expansive states of consciousness and awareness, which means you're able to tune in and be in conversation and hear the language of the body. When the body says, I need this, or stop doing that, you're able to connect with it in that way, and then support it as it fixes what it needs to fix. That we don't hear about today, which is why they're having to push the vaccine and stuff, because they're not allowing the immune system to function. But that's a whole other story. Anyway, bottom line of it is that the body is designed to be self-contained and fix itself. And with that, even though that is awesome, it also causes us to get stuck in survival mode, because what happens? We go immediately to our subconscious programs, all the information that we have about ourselves, that we're not good enough, we're victims, we are whatever, all that stuff. And then we pull out that information, and that's what we keep going back and getting. We keep using that and to operate our lives. And so we find that our army goes up. Our army, I call it our military force, is always out waiting and watching to make sure that somebody isn't going to disrespect us. Somebody's going to do that. We're always on guard to, to protect ourselves. That's survival. That is survival. So we live in a state of survival, which means that we're always in fight or flight. That's a lot of pressure on the body, lots of stress on the body. So anyway, I just wanted to take all of that, tie it together, so people are looking at the fact that it's a whole system at work and not fragmented the way that we do. This piece over here, well, I'm conscious over here of this and that. No, it's a holistic system working together.
I want to get back to, because I had got cut off at the part when I was talking to you about some other stuff, and I was talking about how the past lives affect your current life in this realm right now.
Right.
And I recently came into some information about one of my past lives, and that kind of messed me up. When I started noticing was that some of the things that happened in that past life, I actually ended up, when I incarnated, I ended up living out that cycle in my earlier years.
Right.
And that tripped me out, because I was able to identify that. And I was like, wait, that's what I grew up with. Wait a minute. And so what is
you're bringing closure.
Okay. And so I feel like the shadow work goes so deep when you start doing shadow work and things like that. And you get into it. I've done a lot of shadow work over the years, but this right here just kind of hit me out of nowhere, because I wanted to know and had my mind open, and it was like, okay, let me drop this on you real quick. So when you incarnate in this life, this is who you were and this is what you did. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute. That explains a lot in terms of how I carry myself and how I deal with things and how I deal with people. Right now, it's like I can see how it's playing itself out. So I'm into cleaning up the karma from the past lives. But my question to you is that can we also, in your opinion, I've seen it myself, change the timelines that we're currently in?
Oh, you're talking in the sense of dealing with past lives?
And a sense of we're healing from past life through shadow work. But let's say we're dealing with a situation right now, like with this vaccine situation, right?
Yeah.
If we came together on the collective level and meditated for the greater good of humanity on a collective level, will we not be able to change the timeline?
Yeah, but you're still changing it for yourself, because we don't even. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I've looked at, and I do get it. That's why I started to realize that even though it seemed like it's in a way counterproductive, like if each person actually really like started zoning in on themselves and making like that change, like personal change, you are shifting. I'm still going to see ISIS, but I'm going to see a version of ISIS that's going to align more with where I'm at. That's really
Boom.
what's happening.
Boom.
That's why it's important that each person, because sometimes what happens is people, once again, people start to lean on other people. This is what happened with that New Age movement, with the group, that hive mind mentality that started happening, where they say, well, yeah, we're right now, everybody, we're going to ascend. What happens is you get people that ride on the hive mind, because now it's like you're moving as a cluster. So is everybody then really being able to take responsibility for themselves, or are they moving in a cluster like, oh yeah, we're doing this together? No, each person is a universe unto themselves. You're like your own universe. Every cell in your body is its own universe. When we shift, again, it's like choice points. When we shift, it just looks the same, but we end up in a different experience. Oh, in relationship to that, right before I think you went off, that's right, I think I was talking about the day I went downstairs and everything looked the same. And it had to do with that question, actually, where everything looked the same, but it felt different. Like the sun looked different, like everything.
Yes.
And I knew I was in a different space. This looked like my apartment and where I live, but it was a different realm of my apartment. And
yes. Oh my goodness.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So that's what we're doing. I shifted. I remember big time. I came into like an awareness of, wow, you can't help but shift. Why? Because who you were when you were operating on a certain level of understanding, it no longer supports you. So then you automatically are going to shift. If it no longer supports you, you own it. I was like, wow, I get that. Because I got it and I was all just, okay, I was so accepting. And you ready? This changes. It's always changing. But that
everything shifted. Well, Sonya, when I tell you everything shifted, that's when I got that phone call from you.
Yep.
Everything shifted. It was like when I was ready to accept certain things, it just shifted. Even outside looked different to me. It looked the same, but it looked different.
But it was different.
Yeah. I was like, wait, something.
Because you're in a different space. You're in a different space, and everybody here has gone through those experiences. I think what it is starting to really hone in on them and starting to be more aware of them. Don't brush them off. It's like, I remember years ago going when the kids were younger, and I opened my cupboard. I remember I was looking for, I don't remember if I was looking for flour or what. I was looking for something. And I looked and I did not see it. I knew I had it there. My maple syrup, it was something. I knew it was in that pantry. Could not find it. Could not see it at all. Left, went to the store, came back. It was right there. Now, was I in a different space? Yeah, you're jumping around like that. You can't find your keys. You're in a different space. They were here. Then you come back and then they're right there, but you didn't see them before. We are jumping around in time always. Always. So as soon as we get rid of thinking it's a static reality or being on the freeway, and I know I'm going 5 south because I saw the sign. But then I'm looking at it's 5. I'm like, had 5 south. When did that happen? Then it turns out that had I kept going, there was an accident, some big old situation I would have ended up in. Somehow I ended up going the other way. I mean, so many things. Buildings that you guys see, you're like, when did that building go out?
Yeah. Listen, fam. I'm talking about whole buildings and restaurants disappearing.
Disappearing or appearing. New stuff.
Wait a minute. I just saw that 2 days ago, and now you're boarded up. How, Sway? You know what I mean? I'm looking at that and I'm seeing how different it looks. I'm like, something's different. Like something has changed. And I really made a conscious, I really was paying attention to that. And it made me pull over to the side of the road from it to get my bearings together. Because I'm like, I just saw you 2 days. I just seen you. What about
the buildings that show up though? Like all of a sudden you're like, or a street. You've gone by there millions of times. And then somebody said, go on this street. I'm like, what? That over there? And then I'm like, where did the street come from? So again, this is part of a good part of what's happening is I remember earlier when I said there's so much going on that we're not seeing. We think we're seeing all this stuff, but we're not.
Yes.
And remember I said it's the observer effect, right? So
Yes.
we are engaging and seeing things according to their relevance in our reality in that moment. That's really what's happening, because everything is already technically there. Again, it's all potentials. It's there. Sometimes we need to see the architect, the construction people putting up the building. Sometimes we just need to see that. And another time, it's like a brand new building. I'll be like saying that to my husband. It's like, did you see when they put up that building? Sometimes he's like, no. I'm like, it wasn't there. Like you said, like, I don't think it was there yesterday. All of those things that we start to come into acceptance of. Now we talk about that change and that shift that's going on. These are more of those things that you're going to be engaging in. And it's just allowing us to grow up, to tap into this master self, to be more of what we already are, which is this, indefinable magnificence. And it's like an exercise program. We're exercising that ability to begin to remove the veils and to begin to see more of what's already going on, what's always been going on. And it really changes our life. It can really change our life, because we start to see the things that we hold such importance on, the people that we argue with, the this, the that, they all begin to seem so minuscule and unimportant. And much of that is based on survival. I can't let you that. Oh, how did he talk to me? Or how did she talk to me? Oh, no. So we find that a lot of those things, we just build more stories from them. And then more stories come from the stories. And then we've trapped ourselves in that space. And then we're stuck there for God knows how long. Oh, that's just me. That's what we say. That's just my personality. But is it really? I mean, you're pliable. You can change anything at any time about you, but we get hung up on the story. We get addicted. We are addicted to the lives we live. And that's what I started to realize. We are addicted to our behavior. We're addicted to our lives because it's easier than changing, than seeing that the change needs to happen with us. When we change, what we find is many times the people who we're having a problem with, they either go away or they seem to change. You know why? Part of the reason why they seem to change? Because they no longer have to play the role that you require in your script, in your movie. Everybody in our space has a role and lines to play. And when they no longer have a part in your story, in your script, sometimes we find that people go away. They move away. Sometimes we'd be shocked to find out how many people we've known in our lives that we don't even remember that we knew people, because they're irrelevant. They're not relevant to who we are and our story right now. And it just goes like that on and on. So look at your environment. Look at the people that you're friends with right now. Look at all those conditions. Not to evaluate people as, oh, I'm better, or, oh, they're so negative, I'm positive. No, that's not it. You just want to see what your world, your personal world is made of, so that you can determine what is the story that I'm running about myself and my life right now. And that is what makes the change. And people go away, they disappear sometimes, or you find that you get new people that come in that resonate, they're in resonance with where you are.
Yes, and I have noticed that since I've been getting and speaking about higher things. What I'm noticing is even my following. It's like I see some of the ones that are operating on a different frequency, and then it's making room for other people to come in that's on the frequency that I'm on. That's just what I'm noticing. And now now what's happening is I'm actually purposely now with an intent that when I go on my lives to raise the frequency, it's done on purpose now. Like I'm purposely sending out that energy now.
Absolutely.
Because I'm cleaning what we call house, so to speak. So I want, a different type of people that I want attracted to me, so to speak.
You're changing. So it's going to, there are people that it just, like with my work, there's some people, it just doesn't resonate. That's not and that's fine. I
Right.
want people who it resonates with, because we're talking about shifting and opening ourselves up for more. And if the people aren't ready for that, that's not their thing. That means they still have to play out what their story is. They're not done. That's okay. So that they have to go ahead and play out their story. So to me, yeah, that's all you have to do. That's what I do. That's precisely what I do. I know the kind of people that I want to participate in my work, even when I do something live workshops or retreats, and those people come. That's who's coming towards your work, not because they're better, not because of any polarized thinking like that, but because they resonate with the journey, with where this work is going, or at least where I'm going with this information.
Right. And so, what's the next for Sonia Barrett?
What's next? I always say the only thing that's next is I'm just continuing to travel into forever. That's what's next. But on this
I love
plane,
that concept. Travel into forever. I love that.
that's all I'm doing is travel into forever. But on this plane, I do what I do, which is the free teleconferences once a month and that kind of thing. But for me, it is a never ending discovery. And I am definitely feeling some more expansive content and awareness that's coming. You just feel it, because I'll call it. I'm like, okay, I'm ready. It's time. Step it up, bring it on. And sometimes you say step it up, and then some stuff shifts, and then you may have a couple of days where you're boo-hooing because the old is falling away.
Oh my God! Yes, yes. Oh my God! Yes.
The world is rocked for no reason for about 4.5 hours.
Listen. I'm glad you're bringing that up, because I'm having that moment. Right, I'm having that moment even as we speak. I'm in that moment right
now. Oh, it's a trip. I hear. Believe me, I had it like last week. But then when it was over, it was like boom. I know I'm stepping up, and it's just all part of the mechanism. All of this, the cleansing, the shifting, the moving, like you're moving stuff in your house. It's like stuff moving around. And the more you become aware of it, you don't make it, you don't prolong it, because you allow it. You just allow, and that this moment will pass. This moment will pass, and then you don't resist, and you just let it flow through and move. And then it shifts faster. But when we are like, oh my God, and you're on the phone, and then you're like, then you got to turn it into something else, then it becomes a bigger story, and then it becomes a whole different experience. But it is an exciting process. It's an exciting journey. So it is a journey, and I make myself available for what appeals to me, like what comes to me to do. Like when I didn't do workshops for a while, I allow myself that. I don't go, okay, if I don't do workshops, where am I going to make money from? If I don't feel it, I allow myself. Because why? Because I know, I am trusting that I'm going to be okay. But what I do know in that moment, I am not feeling that. And I gave up doing things based on survival some years back. Once I started understanding the science of money, and I started to understand more about money as a catalyst, and I realized it's like, okay, but I don't want to do that. Well, what do you want to do right now? Okay, this is what I want to do right now. And once I surrendered to this is what I'm going to do right now, and I want to do that, then everything else just was taken care of. I wasn't worried about what's going to happen.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? The universe comes right in and just supports you.
That's right. You are supported, because you are the darn universe. You are the fabric. Oh, people looking for God, they're looking for an individual. If in Christianity, in religion, they always say God is everything. They contradict themselves. God is everything. Well, if God is everything, that means everything. Good, bad, and indifferent. So exactly. I'm everything. I am the very fabric of creation. Right?
Yes. Yes.
We've reduced ourselves frequency wise into these bodies right now to experience this, but it's still that undefinable essence that exists. That's you. That's all of us. We don't have to look any further because we are living the imagined, which is the undefinable, imagined all possibilities. And then our job is to experience, to play out those possibilities. And that's basically what we're doing. And it's just remembering that we really are the thing we're looking for. We are that which we are looking for. And to me, that all of that just became incredibly freeing.
Was there a point in your journey where when you first started coming down this path, right, and things started opening up? Was there a point in your journey where you were like, wait?
Oh yeah.
Am I going crazy?
Oh,
I'm like, am I going crazy? I don't feel like I'm going crazy, but at the same time, at the same time, though, and that I went through that phase a while back. I went through that phase, and I'm just like, but then I got to a space where I became very comfortable being in that space after a while. But I remember when it first started hitting me, I was like,
you get a few of them. You get several phases that will come up at different times. But I remember one of the first times I remember though, and I think it was when, coming from a religious background, which we all have. We all at some point, grew up in the church. But when I was on my quest, and there was that moment when I realized that, oh, so my whole concept of God like changed, and I was just like, okay, I'm going to think about this for a minute. I remember thinking then, I was like, I'm gonna need to just, I don't want to think about it right now. I'm gonna just need for that to go away for a few days, because suddenly the anchor that we're all used to of this concept of God changed, and you became responsible. You realize you were responsible for you.
Boom.
And it was like, okay, I need to come back to this. And so I did do that. Then the next time what happened to me was when I realized that, wait a second, I mean, how do I know that I like the color blue or green or red? That's when I was like, who am I? Am I a composite of just a whole bunch of programs and people tell me stuff from birth? That was like, oh my goodness. That was a jolting moment, because suddenly I'm left with this blank slate, because now I've tossed out everything, for trying to figure out who I am authentically, besides all these programs of who I should be and who I'm supposed to be and all this stuff. And then you're left with like, I was just sitting there like, okay, like, and then you had to grow into that. Then that was like, ready now. Okay, I got this. So there has been these different phases in my life where I've had that moment to step back and go, what? And yeah. And then you keep it moving. You get through that, and there's enough evidence there that pushing you forward, and things happen to make you know that no, you're not crazy. And then I get all really crazy, and then I start to think, well, what is crazy?
Yeah, exactly.
What does crazy even mean?
What is that?
What does that even mean? Because we are operating. This is what most people just do not get. And to me, another level of fascination to me is to realize that, man, everything about humanity, or everything about our world as we know it to be, is just a series of protocols of behavior, of how to think, how to operate, what is good, what is bad, what to do, what you shouldn't do. And before anybody out there goes, what do you mean there's no good or bad? You have to understand this, right? Just like they have back then, when we talk about the Bible and the 10 Commandments, rules had to get written for human beings. They wrote these rules. Not that they really were that way, but they write these guidelines for human beings to keep what? The animal nature of human beings contained. Not just that, but to also subdue a human being to not remember that they really are, if we're going to use the word God, that they really are like this expansive being. So what's happened is everybody has been operating by a series of protocols and beliefs and behaviors, and then we fight each other. We'll kill each other over some rules that somebody else made that we're all living by and agreeing to, and realizing, wait a second. Now, if we step outside of those ideas of guidelines and rules, because the only reason for the rules is because what? Human beings don't remember their power. So the rules are there as a guiding system. As we come into the richness of our power and we own ourselves, what happens then? You don't need somebody to set down rules for you. Why? Because you are not going to be operating based on survival and protection of self, because you've elevated in your consciousness. Your vibration, you've elevated in your consciousness, so you no longer need to operate based on these minuscule protocols that are laid out. Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not do this, that doesn't apply to you anymore, because guess what? You're not even going to do that. Not because it's good or bad, because it's no longer necessary for you. All of that has become irrelevant. It's irrelevant to you because you're operating on a higher ground of thought, and you're looking more at, moving into the next level of what? Creating a planet? I don't know, a universe? There's so many things here that we are about and that we don't remember. And even again in the Bible where, behold, what is it? Behold that man has become like one of us, knowing good and evil. Even those things got written in, and you have to look at how you decode that stuff. It's always been this sort of battle, just like those we've said, those who have come onto the planet, and human beings look at anybody who can make fire as a god. That's what we've done. We've been so beaten down in awareness of who we are and disempowered that anybody who we think can do something we can't do, so we're used to surrendering our power, and we're afraid of our own power. So now this change that is happening is part of this process for those who are actually ready and open to move into that space, to begin to own their power and not be afraid of it, and not worry about what you think somebody should be doing. Because see, you're not ready yet. When you're busy thinking that this person should be believing what you believe, and you're on that mission, you're not ready yet. We are ready when we can. I'm going to say this because I've said it so many times. What I learned is when you can fall in love with the whole game, because it is so freaking amazing that we did this. We made this stuff. We created all this. When you fall in love with the whole thing, you're like, wow, it no longer has power over you. No longer holds you. Boom, you're out. You no longer have to, and you're not trying to run. You're not trying to escape, because I hear people say that I want to escape the matrix. How do I escape? Escaping means that you're running. It means you're in survival. That is not what we want to necessarily do. It's not about escaping. It is about mastering. It is about coming into your full power. And those certain things become of a lower vibration. So your awareness, your consciousness, the vibration of your consciousness begins to supersede those things. And it's not good or bad or better. It's just, they become irrelevant.
It is what it is. It just is what it is.
Yeah. So anyway.
Wow.
To say.
Well, you know what, Miss Lady, I thank you for coming on board to speak with my audience. I'm going to say this one thing. I'm going to need y'all to get my likes up right now, so that way this video can be spread far and wide. Because y'all know the more likes I get on this video, the more people get a chance to view it. So please push the like button on the video so I get a lot of views on it. But I'm so glad that you came on board to talk with us, and you gave a lot. I sent the comments, and they're saying she's giving me a lot of confirmation about a lot of different things. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I can tell that you have really helped my audience based on the responses that I'm getting from the people, and they're probably going to slap that on my Telegram channel too, because I do have a Telegram channel.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know, you can check me out at I Am the Realest to Ever Do It, the number 2 Ever Do It on the Telegram, also on Instagram. If you can't find me on Telegram, all you have to do is go to my Instagram and hit my link tree. And when you hit the link tree, you'll see it up there where you'll see it. It says my Telegram. Make sure you go there. Come join me over there. And Sonia, how do people reach out to you or contact you?
My main website is therealsoniabarrett.com. So it's therealsoniabarrett.com. And it's easy to find me. You can just Google me as well. And a lot of different things will come up, Sonia Barrett. And all my websites are are listed on therealsoniabarrett.com. And also Instagram, all those places, YouTube. Yes, I do need more likes on my YouTube channel as well. So do click like on YouTube and also join my Instagram page as well. But I'm easy to find. The Real Sonia Barrett.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, we do a Wednesday, once a month free Reality Wednesday, we call it, once a month, where I do a talk and people talk and exchange questions and so on. But it's called Reality Wednesday and it's free. It's the first Wednesday of every month. And I do the expansion portal, which is for members, and we discuss all kinds of cutting edge, like some of these cutting edge films that are coming out now. We talk about a lot of that kind of information as it relates to where we're going in this reality right now.
Yeah, we're definitely going somewhere.
Yeah,
we're definitely going somewhere. We're definitely striving. I feel like I'm just constantly. It's like I don't even know how to explain the feeling, but I just feel like everything is just a constant journey at this point. It's just a consistent thing, and it's just like, here, let me give you this information. Let me give you that information. Hey, did you know about this over here? Or what about this back here? And I'm like, okay. Y'all didn't tell me it was going to be like that. And you didn't tell me it was going to be like that. And how about you could have told me that I was going to have those moments while I was going to be breaking down? You could have told me about that.
Just coming at you. Yep.
Yeah, man. But I'm growing. Each time that I have those crossroad experiences or those experiences that make you, that just kind of smack you in the forehead real hard, and you gotta take a few days and sit down for a minute.
Right.
After you go through that process and you get past that aspect of things, then you continue to keep growing, and it affects so many different aspects of your life. I know for me, it affects so many different aspects of my life, because now it's just all kinds of folks reaching out to me that's been there. I didn't know they were there, and now it's like, I'm here, and I'm like, where have you been? We've been here the whole time. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, as we go into these different space, boy, people show up, different things, and it's like, well, I've been doing this for a while. I've been here. We're all of a sudden, I have the same thing sometimes. I'm like, all of a sudden, like all these people will just bombard me, like the last week or so, to be on their show, and I was like, did something happen? I mean, people invite me, but it'll be like suddenly, you know what I mean? Like suddenly a whole bunch of people, and I'm like, well, what happened? But it's a wild journey.
Yes, it is.
Wild and fascinating and crazy and insane and beautiful all at the same time. Maddening all at the same time.
Well, thank you very much, Sonia, for being on the line. I'm going to get my intro music out. And okay, YouTube, I'll holler back at y'all. Meet me back on Instagram. Peace out.
Thanks.
Hold on. I don't know why my thing is not working right now.
Battery 5. Connected to LG Style 6.
Turn it up. Yeah, check. One, two, yeah, check. One, two.